Hello and welcome to another episode of the Paddock podcast. I'm Alex and I'm here with Adam.
You alright?
Alright. And Ryan. How are we doing?
Not too bad.
So, 2 days after that great thing on Sunday.
Wasn't that good, was it?
No. Have we calmed down yet?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of calmed down straight away because it was... If you'd have said before the game, you know, Liverpool are going to win 2-0, you're not going to be surprised because the injuries that we've got in the side, we knew that Rashford wasn't starting. We know how good Liverpool are and they've barely got any injuries. 2-0, it could have... If you'd have said before the game it would have been 5, you would have gone, yeah, sounds about right. Yeah. But I don't think we played too bad. I think that Ollie was a bit too positive when he talked about, like, we controlled the game in certain aspects. Yes, we did, but not to the point where you can rant and rave about it like it was a thing that you can take away from the game. You know, Liverpool were just the better team, not on the day, but in terms of, like, longevity and planning and transfers. That this victory has been, like, 4 or 5 years in the making.
Yeah, definitely. It was one of them for me, I think. It's the one game I dread every season. I don't enjoy it, but it's probably the least arsed I've been after getting beat by Liverpool.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether that's just because we already know what's going to happen come May.
Yeah.
With them lot, nothing was really expected of us, and we didn't get.
I think that second goal kind of killed it. Yeah. I think the second goal probably put people in a... It was weird because the game was over, and I was screaming for De Gea to go. I was like, if we lose 2-0, it doesn't matter. Yeah. But at the same time, the fact that Salah scored that goal and the way he celebrated and just how it was, it just like everyone kind of went. That killed the game there. Yeah. It'd have been good if it had been just anything, just a clearance that ended the game. I think people would have been a bit more positive with all that.
They started chanting, "We're going to win the league" as well, and it's sort of like
which they are. Yeah, okay, great.
I think that what's weird as well is that because United get so sensationalised by the media, the fact that even though it was we got beat by Liverpool at Anfield, the thing that was taken away by them was this was a massive thing for Liverpool as opposed to a huge negative for United was bizarre. Like, I remember this time last year it was, United's got beat, that's Jose gone then, Jose this, Jose that. It was all about Mourinho, it was all about United. This time it's all about Liverpool, and it's kind of like showing us that we've just been pushed down the pecking order a bit in terms of recent media sort of speculation because they don't really care. Liverpool look like they're here to stay for the next couple of years as a top side that are probably going to win Premier Leagues, FA Cups, Champions Leagues again. It's just not looking good as a United fan.
No, we don't. I've just about dealt with they're going to win it in May. Let's not talk about them doing. They're going to win it in May. Van Dijk will go, Mane will go, Salah will go, and they'll all crumble again, and Klopp will retire. It'll be fine. Don't worry about that. But I think as well the way that Sky Sports kind of set it up as well, with the way that with having Keano there, with having Evra, they were wanting, and then obviously bringing Carragher back in at the end. They were wanting it to be an argument at the end of that game. They wanted to start that Ollie. I think they wanted Keane and Evra to say no, he needs to go. I think that's what they were hoping for. And to be fair, I think Keane was bang on with everything he said with it all. Slagging off Lampard was brilliant because that's something no one's done. You know, they got beat by Newcastle yesterday.
Well, Chelsea,
how bad the reaction was when we got beat 1-0 by Newcastle.
Yeah. Well, we're United, aren't we?
It was ridiculous.
Fucking massive, aren't we?
Compared to what they said, oh yeah, well, they didn't play very well and Steve Bruce did a good job. It wasn't that. It was United are the worst team in the world and this is it.
The point he made on Pep as well was brilliant in his first season at City. Yeah. He was saying, because then Carragher came out with the argument, well, they still finished top 4. Was that good enough for City, who inherited a team with...
Well, didn't they come second the year before that?
They won the league the year before he came in.
All right, yeah.
Oh, no, they didn't. Sorry, no. They finished 4th.
They finished 4th the year before he came in, so they didn't
progress him at all.
And yeah, he signed a lot of players that year as well. People forget that, and he
didn't exactly inherit a bad squad either.
Yeah, no. So I think Keano was banging with most of the things. He also said it wasn't a foul on De Gea, which is just
Keano,
wrong.
Isn't it?
But that's just Keano because he wants people elbowing people all over the show. But
of course he does.
Also, Rashford out for that game. We kind of knew that was going to be one of the keys. So I think the rumours were for us that Liverpool were worried about Rashford. That's all they were worried about was Rashford going to play and is he going to cause many problems? And as soon as that didn't happen, that straight away everyone said, we kind of thought maybe he'd be on the bench or something, maybe this injury isn't as bad as he thought. But as soon as he wasn't in the squad at all, everyone kind of dropped. But I mean, who's to blame? Who's to blame for that injury? Because for me, he's been cleared by the medical staff to play. You're not telling me, like, they may have said there's a risk, but they've still not said if he plays this game and gets anything that he's going to be out for 6 months. I don't think they ever, because I don't think Ollie would have took that risk against Wolves.
I think the blame lies with the medical staff, lies with the physios, lies with Ollie as well, I think, because I was always on the side of Rashford's going to play. He wants to play. He's that sort of player. I think that Ollie's completely abused that and gone, oh, he said he'll play, so we'll play. It's like they've been sat in a meeting and gone, yeah, but Rashford said his back's sore and, he might have this crack in it. Yeah, he'll play. He's fine with it. Yeah. And, it's not a good thing to do. I mean, I remember there was a quote as well saying that Rashford did an interview at Hotel Football, couldn't even sit down because it was that bad. And I was there like...
How long ago was that? Do you know?
He did an interview with Ryan Giggs about it, but...
It was last week.
Was it last week?
Yeah.
But even still, I mean, God, if you can't sit down... Do you know what I mean? You shouldn't be playing professional football. I mean, like, I think I had 4 spinal fractures, and they hurt, they ache, and you can't do anything, you can't run, you can't pick anything up. Now, I didn't know I had the spinal fractures until I actually had a scan for something different. They said, you've got all these fractures, and I had the treatment at the time, which so like, in your back, you have vertebrae, and mine were all 4 of them were cut in half like that. So I had to have this treatment to sort of like recuperate that, also build up my core strength. It takes a long time. I mean, Ollie said 6 weeks. It wasn't 6 weeks for me. And I had treatment and I was growing at the time. Rashford's now a fully grown lad. He's got back fractures. This is a bad injury. This is potentially career ending. If I don't want to sort of put a dampener on it, this is a really bad injury.
Maybe not career ending now, but I certainly think back injuries is something that does stay with you.
It's going to be reoccurring.
Yeah, 100%.
And this is going to be horribly symptomatic of the fact that Rashford plays a lot of games. He plays a lot of games where he doesn't, where like the squad's sort of not rotated, he'll always go in there. If you throw the kids in, he'll go in there. He always seems to be a constant in that side, like De Gea, but obviously more physically demanding because he's a winger. I feel that he's just been overplayed.
I think it's a lot on Rashford as well. I think he's the one that's pushing for that. I think he should have gone for surgery last year on his ankle, and he didn't. I think there's a lot on Rashford, but I don't know. I mean, us arguing about whose fault it is now.
Yeah.
We obviously have a look at it, but it's not going to change anything now.
I think ultimately as well, that if the club knew about these fractures in his back, why didn't we go after Haaland? Why on earth did we not go after Haaland? Because I understand this whole like Raiola thing and this, we don't want to do this, and like, there's murmurs coming out. We'll talk about it later with Fernandes, with George Mendes, but we don't want to do deals with him. That like, if you know that a striker has this ankle injury on top of a back fracture, why on earth are you not breaking the bank for another striker? Because then you can go, right, in the game that we had where we replayed Wolves in the FA Cup, that's where you go, right, Rashford, you go and get, you have a rest, right, Haaland will bring you in now, here's where you come into the side. Yeah. He comes in, scores, like he did at Dortmund, maybe a hat-trick or something like that, and in the next game you play him again, then you bring Rashford back in, you leave him out for maybe a month instead of 3, and you say, look, he had this back fracture, the reason why I bought Haaland was to give him a rest and to bleed him into the side, and then you've got a front 3 there of Martial, Rashford and Haaland, along with Greenwood and James as supporting acts, along with maybe Juan Mata who can do a job at the right, and you upgrade the squad. Not buying Haaland was a mistake to begin with. Not buying Haaland when you know that your best player is going to be out for that period of time is a joke, really, on United.
What does every problem that's happened this season revert back to?
Yeah, there's a common denominator in all of this.
Making signings.
Yeah.
Making signings, and that's... We'll get on to who we think's coming in a bit. But then the other thing that came out after this weekend was, and it was trending yesterday all day, was this Woodward out thing.
Good.
Obviously, Gary Neville's come out and said what he said about it all.
Gary Neville's been a bit of a catalyst for it all again. I mean, always pops up and about. I'm glad it does, because something needs to change. I mean, we talk week in, week out whenever we lose a big game that there's certain problems with the squad. There might be, a tactical error in there. But the one thing it all boils down to in the end is the fact that we have probably the worst board in football. Someone put a comment on another Paddock video and it was brilliant and said we're probably the poorest, richest club. And it's true. We'll have a £200 million transfer budget, and you go, right, that'll get us maybe three pretty good players out. And then you realise and you go, hang on a minute, they just took 300 million out. So they're taking more than what we've actually got as a budget. On top of the fact that it looks like our transfer committee do fuck all and work 1 day a week. Because if I'm being honest with you, this Fernandes deal is getting ridiculous. I mean, they're on about talks continue next week. Oh yeah, they're going to go and see him next week. It's like, just why isn't someone in there 5 days a week and their one job is just to literally go to Fernandes' agent, liaison with him and make that your number one priority? As far as I'm concerned, we're only going to get Fernandes if we get anyone this season. Just go all after him in January now, because we need players.
It is baffling. Like, if he's someone we've identified that is going to make a difference this season, and we're solely focused on him, regardless of the price. I mean, what we have to we're not willing to pay anything other than 40 up front.
It was something around €50 million, something like that.
And whoever is valued Fernandes that low is an absolute moron.
Especially as United.
Yeah.
I feel there's a bit of a weird thing though with Fernandes. Why on earth are Sporting this keen on selling him? This is what gets me. Are they? Because to me it boils. Because it boils down to a few things for me. He's in his prime right now. Does that mean they want to get rid of a player while he's at the peak of their value that he can get rid? Or does it mean that he's on his decline? They want to get rid of him as soon as.
I think naturally.
Or is he a problem in the dressing room? I doubt that. I honestly think we just want him. But Sporting's sort of like whoring him out to sort of every club in Europe in the summer, then to do it again in January with United. For us then to get him this like, we've agreed a fee, no we've not. We've agreed a fee, no we've not. You know, we all thought the game against Benfica was his last game. It's not, because I think he's in the squad for today. He's been removed out of their header, but you know, it's on Twitter. But that's one of those things I don't really read into that much. But for me, Fernandes probably will come to United, but the fact that we've drawn it out over an entire window means that we've probably missed 3 weeks there where we could have signed a midfielder, you know, like Doucouré or someone like that. Someone we need.
Like, imagine if Fernandes had been that team on Sunday. You know, even if he'd come on for that team on Sunday, because you know, I don't think we're the best, but we created chances, or we worried Liverpool.
Yeah,
you know, we got them to the point where they were bringing on defenders. They were bringing on Fabinho came on for Mane or something like that. They were sitting back.
Yeah.
And if you have one player that was going to do it, one player that had that decent ball in, surely that's what you want Fernandes out of.
Yeah.
I think there's a bit of this where Sporting want rid of him.
Yeah. But
at the same time, because we know that they want rid of him, maybe there is something in that. Maybe they go, look, there's no point to... There's no point spending because they need to sell him. They're not going to not sell him this window. There's no one else in for him. So look, we put a price on it. We're going to stick with that. And I think it's wrong that we're stringing this out. But like everyone's saying, Sporting need the money.
We did the same thing with Lukaku in the summer, though, didn't they? I think Inter made it clear they didn't want to pay. Was it 75? They wanted for Lukaku. I think they made it clear quite early on they weren't willing to pay that. And again, we let that drag on till the last week of the window, and we still took a hit on what we paid for him. Yeah. And it's just, again, it just comes down to penny pinching again. And
it's the add-ons as well. Exactly. United try and buff up the add-ons, and we go like, it genuinely wouldn't surprise me if Woodward said, we'll give you 50 million up front and we'll give you 20 million if we win the Champions League this season. Because that's the sort of person he is. He probably don't even know what fucking competition we're in.
That's the Martial deal. I mean, I don't know what when the Martial deal came out and said it was like 85, 90 million.
Yeah.
Originally, it's only 45 million up front.
Yeah, the add-on was like a Ballon d'Or, wasn't it?
Like he wins a Ballon d'Or.
He had the Golden Boy, which he won straight away. It's if he wins scores over 20 goals in the season, that's another one. And then the other ones are just...
I think it was 50 goals.
He scores 50,
And he scored... Because there was a thing a bit ago where he was on 49, I think, and I think Jose was dropping him or something. There was something where, like... Everyone was like, "Oh, Woodward's forcing the manager to drop the player." It wasn't. He was just going for like a bit of a bad purple patch sort of thing. Yeah. But yeah, they was on about that. But to me, like you said, then we've just come back to Woodward full circle.
So going back again, talking about Woodward, what my thing with these hashtag things is: do you think they Woodward? Do you think the Glazers? Do you think anyone actually cares about whether there's a hashtag trending about this guy wanting?
It's just a token effort, and I get there's not really much we can do as fans other than probably not go to games, which. I'm sorry,
it's not going to happen. Exactly. The thing is, as well, if you don't go to games,
United are always going to sell out.
They're going to sell the tickets. Yeah. And the thing is, if season ticket holders don't go to games, you lose out. You have to give your ticket back, and either it looks empty, or they'll just sell the tickets on and make more money. So it makes there's no. You can't win in that. That's not. It's not going to work that way.
I think the unfollow Man United thing and the whole social media thing was a ripple in the ocean in terms of what actually needs to be done. Because United know that social media is huge because it's all they ever brag about. Yeah. It's all they ever brag about. Yeah. The thing with the Sanchez thing, they banged on about that. Oh, we got more clicks than Neymar. You know, they seriously do look at social media as a gauge for how they're doing. But for me, a few 100,000 people. Zach Woodward had a few 100,000. You have millions. Yeah. You know, until we see real change in terms of fan division and sort of just, identifying that this is sort of an issue at the club, which everyone knows. Gary Neville's called it out numerous times now about he's questioned the management, he's questioned the board, which he should be doing. But the board remains silent. I mean...
The thing is as well, I think...
It's ridiculous.
It comes around when there is a bit of a shitstorm, and this isn't a criticism of anyone, because I know we're all Glazer out, Woodward out, but... It doesn't last. Like it'll hang around for 2 weeks. It'll linger for another week, and then you won't hear anything of it properly or heavily to the point where it's trending number one. on Twitter for another 5 weeks until we lose another game.
Yeah.
It's just like, which isn't a criticism. Like it's not a criticism, but
the Glazers know as well that they've got 3 or 4 like the different fan bases and stuff around it. You've got the match going people. You've got that kind of fan group, and the people who are based in Manchester and stuff like that have the choice of going to the games and not going to the games. And that, in general, is quite a small number. It's a lot of money, but it's still quite a small number.
Fans shouldn't be punished because of how shit they've managed the club.
They shouldn't be punished for not, because it's still, people still want to go to games.
The singing section last game was banging on about anti-Woodward, anti-Glazer chants, and it felt like 10 years ago when we all had the old Glazer out because the Love United hates Glazer. The famous Beckham thing where he took the scarf. It's all coming round again for good reason.
Yeah.
And Ferguson's genius was the only thing that won us titles under the Glazers. The Glazers. Yeah, it's always been a cash grab. Everyone knows it's a cash grab. We just need to get them out because the sooner we get. The only problem is with United at the moment. I can never see us winning a title again under Woodward and the Glazers. It will not happen. I can't say it because we need. The thing is though, we need a long-term plan because Liverpool, right? Modern football at the moment, City had a long-term plan, 10 years, that's come out well. Liverpool have had this long-term plan. They're in the middle of it. They're in their peak. They've not even got to their peak yet. When they win a back-to-back title, that's going to be their thing, and they're going to do it.
You keep saying
no.
Keep saying that.
Yeah, I know.
Say they're going to get better because they're not. Be in denial about that. We've got over the fact they're going to win the league. Let's just not.
We should be that side because we have all the finances. We had the team to do it. It was just that we just let it get old, and instead of replacing it, we went with nostalgia and give Rooney another 4 or 5 year contract under Moyes, which at the time, granted, I will admit.
Speaking of Rooney, by the way, did you see that people said about bringing him in on loan?
No.
Oh my God!
No, Rooney's legs have gone. It's pure nostalgia playing on your eyes.
Who thought that was?
Look, I know that Pereira's that bad, and I know that Lingard's awful, but Rooney, it would be like. I don't know. It'd be like putting Bobby Charlton back out there just because, he's a legend of the club. I mean, I get that he loves the club and he would absolutely die to play for United again, Rooney, and probably drag half of these shit players through the mud. But in terms of actual, ability, there's a lot better out there. Bruno Fernandes is one of them.
Yeah. So, moving on to that, let's get into transfers. So, obviously, we've gone over Bruno Fernandes. There's reports coming out today that someone's been signed for, is it Andras Spora, has been signed for Sporting Lisbon. Said he's not going to be a direct replacement, but it's almost remember when Bale got sold and they'd already signed 2 players that were going to be that bit of money. I think that's the way things are with
the planning investments.
The planning that I think it will happen. I think it will happen this January, but we're missing games. We're missing because remember that person's got to come in. They've got to train. They've got to do all that. Whether they're looking at blooding him in the
winter break, I think.
Yeah.
Look, I genuinely believe that Fernandes is going to happen because I think that both parties and the player want to do it. The only thing that's a stumbling block is the fact that Sporting want more because they know that United need that player. They probably even looked at the game at Anfield and went, are you sure you want Pereira doing that every fucking game?
10 million on top of that.
Yeah, it's like an extra 10 million because it's not Andreas Pereira. Get your comments in, by the way, for players that you also want to sign. We're going to go through a few of them, but if there's anyone that we've missed out, do put it in the comments and we'll have a little chat.
From a fan's perspective as well, the amount of time it takes us to actually seal a transfer, all the excitement, by the time he's there holding the shirt, is just completely gone. You're like, right, so
we can't even do
one.
Like, how long was Maguire? How long was Wan-Bissaka? It was one of them where it was like
it's going to happen, but it's just like
like when Ornstein and Simon Stone come out and go like there's no fee agreed yet, but there's meant to be developments coming up in the next 48 hours. It's like, fucking hell, here we go. Just like 3 months time it's going to happen, and it's the same that happens with every single player. And Fernandes looks like he's on the way in, but a player who used to play for Sporting Lisbon who's on his way out potentially.
Marcus Rojo.
Do we need to get rid of more players?
I won't get rid of Rojo.
I won't get rid of anyone, even Jones, even Lingard. And do you know what? As much as I'm going to cringe saying it, Andreas Pereira. Because we need more players.
Right. I wouldn't get rid of anyone in midfield.
No, definitely
centre half wise.
We are pretty stocked.
No, we're not. Because everyone gets injured. Jones is a walking liability. We all know that. Tuanzebe has been injured a lot. Which, I mean, if I'm being honest, I rate Tuanzebe over Lindelof. I get this whole thing if he's not been dribbled past and all that, but for me, as a centre back, I am more comfortable with Tuanzebe, and he's a better leader for me.
The Tuanzebe thing worries me though, because they've not come out and said he's got this injury and this and all this kind of stuff. What is going?
A bit like Gomez, isn't it? Because we know that he's just not. He's just going.
Do you not see what I think his cousin retweeted something on Twitter. I think Giggs had a quote.
Whose cousin? Sorry, Tuanzebe's cousin.
No, Gomez.
Gomez, yeah.
and it was taken from a Giggs interview, and Giggs has said something like, United need a player to unlock the door like a Maddison or a Grealish, and Gomez's cousin had just retweeted going, lol.
Yeah.
Bearing in mind you got Gomez just sat there not doing
I think the Gomez one's an odd one. I don't know why they're not. There must be reasons why I'm not giving him time. I don't think he's quite fit enough. I don't think he's quite.
You only get fit by playing games.
You only get fit by playing games.
Exactly. You only get fit by playing games.
But I think I wouldn't want to see Rojo go unless it's the thing that makes the Sporting Lisbon deal happen. That's the only thing I can think.
Well,
but just selling Rojo doesn't make sense to me because.
The only issue is though that ESPN Argentina, he did an interview and he said that he'd love to play for his first club Estudiantes. I think I've definitely mispronounced that one wrong, but he wants to play for them again.
Do you think Rojo's done at playing in Europe? Do you think he's his peak is going?
Yeah, I mean because he's always going to play for Argentina until the next generational fullback. Well, the good thing with Rojo is he's both fullback and centre half. Yeah. So he's when you're that flexible, you're going to be kept in the side, and the fact that he's been with that side that long and going back to his home country. I don't think that he'll not be in the next, Copa America, the next World Cup.
I still rate Rojo.
I like him. He's
a loose cannon, but like.
Yeah, but you love him for that, don't you?
Yeah.
Him and Baye at the centre back as well. When we were in the Europa League, I loved them because they were mad bastards, weren't they?
So strikers as well. I mean, obviously with the Rashford injury, this has come back up. I think if Rashford had stayed fit or was half fit, I think they'd have said, we'll stick with what we've got.
Yeah.
We've done it for the first half of the season.
They've shown it because, like what I said before about Haaland, it's obvious that they weren't arsed about it. Yeah.
They're not that arsed, and I can kind of see why not. If it's a short-term injury, you can see Rashford getting rotated, putting Dan James to the left, bringing Greenwood in, and things like that. Maybe playing with two up front and not having the three. They're options, but the problem is with no Rashford for. Could be 3 months. It could be the end. Because realistically, if things go wrong, it could be the end of the season. It could be Rashford's season over, which would be a proper shame because it means he's not going to get the. It won't go down as that generational season kind of thing, will it? Which if it had got to, because I think it had got to the 25, 30 goals in all competitions and stuff, if it had stayed fit. But he's not going to get that now. I think now. They're gonna try and get someone in. They have to try and get someone in. Surely.
Yeah, we got to.
Surely.
So, you think so, but won't surprise me.
There was talk about. I'm not going to say Piatek from
Christoph Piatek.
Piatek.
I hope that's right. After me being that confident about saying it, yeah.
Piatek from AC Milan because it was a weird one where they got him in last season. And
from Genoa, burst on the scene there, yeah.
And now he's going.
Yeah, one.
Is that not a bit?
He's not doing well at all. I mean, was that there? One goal from open play, was it? One open play goal. It's just.
And
he's just acting poor. Yeah, he's had 6 big chances and he's put away one of them. And he's got all the hallmarks of a one-season wonder, a pure one-season wonder. Like I get that he's pretty young, and I get this. The goal scoring tally he had at Genoa carried on to AC Milan. But this second season syndrome's just not really kicked in for him. And the fact that they've just brought, I know he's probably like a year or two away from retirement, the fact they brought Zlatan back.
Yeah, that just means he's not playing.
If you've got a player up front who's 30 goals a season, you're not going to bring Zlatan in because you're only going to stifle him.
Which worries me with signing someone because I'm not sure this lad's not the oldest. It's one of them. We're going to talk about Cavani next and the talk of Zlatan earlier on. You can see that as it's going to be a year. You can see that as a year. That's all you know. It's going to be a year. That's it. But someone like this, he's going to cost us talk of it in 35 million or a loan with an option to buy, or that's kind of you're buying him.
Definitely.
Kind of thing, unless it all goes wrong. That just doesn't seem like the right thing to do. If we're going to get someone in, it needs to either be something that looks short term, a Cavani that's going to be 18 months and you're gone, mate. You're not getting another deal.
Yeah.
As Zlatan, you're going to get 6 months and then you're going back to the MLS.
Mandzukic would have been good at this point in time, but he's already the ship sailed with there because he's gone.
Did he go to Qatar or anything?
Yeah. He's gone to a very low standard league where he could probably have been a good option for us up front.
Definitely.
We need a target man, It would have been good. Can you imagine the game against Liverpool if we had someone just to knock the balls up to? I get that, you got Van Dijk up there, but if we had someone who could maybe even just hold the ball up for us, it could change.
It's not like Mandzukic as well. He's probably intelligent enough and had enough experience to know.
Oh God, yeah.
I'm not going to win anything against Van Dijk, so I'll just peel off.
Yeah, he's playing on the wings, aren't there? So he knows where to play across the front three. But for me, I really can't see us sign a striker. I think that Ollie said in his press conference that he's going to play Greenwood more and in form matter. look, I love Mata as much as you two probably love Mata, but the fact that we're trying to hype him up as if he's the one Mata of 2012, 13 that we cry out for right now.
He can't do what, because it's going to come thick and fast soon, where we're going to be playing 2-3 games a week consistently.
He always comes off after 65 minutes anyway.
Yeah, the reason why he was so good recently is because he hasn't been barely playing at all, so he's completely fresh legs. He scored 2 goals.
So I'm not sure about that.
Yeah.
Cavani then, he's going to go to Atletico Madrid. It's one of them, we're talking about him, but he's just one of them that he's obviously getting moved on, and everyone's just going,
yeah,
he must be linked with United.
All indications are to Atletico Madrid. We're just being linked with him because they...
It's just easy, it's just an easy link.
Well, yeah, it's that, and as well, they know that we need a striker. So Cavani sort of ticks every box to say we'll get him, but he also ticks every box as in the fact that we'll probably be signing a player past the prime again. Yeah, 100%. So I think you don't want to go with it. But for 20 million, though, it's one of them where you go, right, fuck it. If it don't work, it don't work. It's only 20 million. You're not spending like daft amount of wages. You're not spending daft amount on the thing.
But is it not going to be daft amount of wages? Must be on 300 grand a week.
I guess that's a mate weight.
We're not guaranteed Champions League football.
We're not guaranteed Champions League football.
Yeah, so for me, I can't see that. I can't really see that.
No.
But there's Jude Bellingham as well.
Jude Bellingham. I mean, for as much as we're going to talk about him and he might come in, he's still 16 and not going to play.
To me, Bellingham, yeah. I mean,
he's going to get bought and loaned back, isn't he?
Bellingham said that he doesn't want to play for under 23s again because now he's got the taste of senior football. Yeah, exactly, yeah. I mean, if he's doing well in Birmingham in the first team, the Championship, then fair play because he's trying to build his way up that way. Damari Gray did it as well, where he just wanted to sort of play at that level and say, I'm not going to drop down again. Leicester took the chance on him. Obviously, they kept playing him and he doesn't really start... like, you know, the games, like a lot of games, but the games that he does start, you go, there's a player there. And the same with Bellingham, that, you know, they said as well that if we do get him, they want him in the squad for 2022. So what's that, nearly a 2-year loan back?
20-odd million on something.
Yeah, so we're paying his wages for 2 years to play there, that he might even flop, and then we have to take him back and go, yeah, you weren't really up for it, mate.
I think they're the kind of things it's worth doing. It's worth gambling on the younger players. I'd rather...
Oh, yeah. Under this management, especially.
Yeah, it's worth gambling on that. But... again, it's not going to... we need players that are going to come in now.
Yeah.
You know, we need midfielders that are going to play tomorrow. You know,
we need players in the now, don't we? We need prime. We need... for as good as youth is, and as good as the United Academy has been recently, I mean, look, you got Williams, you got McTominay, and you got Greenwood that have all come out of there and all been first team quality, but we need a big overhaul of just players that we can just come in and hit the ground running. And it's easier said than it is done, because you can go, look, we've tried it before. You know, we got Herrera, we got Di Maria, we got Falcao, we got all them in, and they've not really hit the ground. Well, they didn't hit the ground running. Herrera was the only one out of them that stayed all the way through. But Herrera, would you say Herrera was always that sort of player where you went, does he get in X side, does he get in Y side, and then he'd gone by the time anyone could decide that. And then you're looking at the United team and there's a Herrera-shaped hole there going, shit. I mean, could you imagine a midfield there where if you got like McTominay, Herrera, and then you had Fernandes? I'm just forgetting Pogba at this point. I don't want to talk about him.
Well, the thing is, like, because we've talked about, you've ignored said no Pogba and McTominay, but they've been said they're not going to come back until after the break.
Long term, isn't it?
Long term. So they're not going to come back until after the February break, which means we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 games at least, and then we've got one on the Monday night against Chelsea. They're not going to come in and start against Chelsea. That's 5 games. And then we've got Club Brugge in the Europa League, which we have to take very seriously now, because, you know, that's probably our one of the best chances to get into the Champions League, our best chance of getting trophies.
And the worst bit is the teams that are trying to out the Champions League
are pretty good.
Yeah, there's no like minnows, there's no Genks anymore, there's no shit that you can play. But the teams that come out, I mean, Ajax are in it. Are Inter Milan in it? Inter Milan are in it, aren't they? I mean, look at that. I mean, that's all you need to know. When you got Inter Milan buying the players that they're getting at the moment, it's just one of them where you go,
do you think Sanchez could have come and done a job? No.
Sanchez is done. For me, Sanchez is done.
In terms of just having another option, like, I know he's dog shit.
Because he can't run. He could barely hold the ball. His whole remit of Sanchez was he would give the ball away 5 times, but one of them would be a goal, and he'd give the ball away 20 times. So he'd be involved in like 4 goals in that game. And then the simple fact of the matter is he's just completely fell off it. I think that it's just one of them where if it was going to work, it would have by now, because I think that the ties have already been cut with the club, then the fans. There's that disconnect. If you could you imagine if Sanchez got recalled and he's the sudden beacon of all hope? What was he last time when we bought him? He was meant to be that one to push us to beat City to the title.
I don't really think he was, though. I think the Sanchez deal, as much as we all loved it when it first happened,
it was
a bit like, why have we done that?
I loved it because we were getting.
But at the same time, I was like,
because one thing I looked at was I think it was the season before. Or the season before that, was that the top 3 scorers in the Premier League were Kane, who was at the top, and then second and third was Sanchez and Lukaku. And I went there going, wow, we've got hell of a strike force there now, along with Martial and Rashford. I honestly thought Sanchez was going to be shafted to the right way he played for Barca, and he scored a lot of goals there, because I thought the Martial-Rashford thing was working really well. Turns out that he actually wanted to play on the left, and then he started playing every player that we had who didn't want to play on the right, when Sanchez could easily have played on the right.
I think it might have fit into the system a bit more, where we are playing an actual number 10. He could have potentially gone in there, maybe not as much driving forward, picking up the ball. Because that's the other thing is he was being the width a lot of the time, and he was always dropping deep and stuff like that. But
especially now Pogba's not in the team either, because him and Pogba were picking up similar positions.
You've seen as well, Sanchez has got injured. I mean, I don't think he'll come back. No. I don't think he's going to be any fitter when he comes back.
I don't think he'd want to.
Is he? I don't think
the fans do.
There's no thing in his contract.
Yeah.
To read.
There's no obligation. Yeah.
Which is whoever's drawn that contract up is an absolute moron. Who's gone, right, we'll give you him. We can't call him back, but we'll pay all his wages.
Right. And knowing as well that we've got such a thin squad, it's ridiculous.
So let's have a look at some of the comments, what people are saying. Llorente, what do we reckon to that? Because there was a lot of talk on that. Where did he go in the end? Or is he?
I think he had a spell at Napoli.
Oh God, yeah, I think so. Yeah, I don't know what he's up to now.
I think he's still at Napoli. Probably. I think that's going to be hit.
Look, Llorente was
back to Spurs recently.
Llorente was important when they played City in the Champions League. Yeah. I mean, that was 2 years ago, and he knows that he'll only ever be a backup striker because he's got experience in it. Yeah.
Next one, I mean, Pukki was mentioned. I think he had a few weeks that was all right.
They're not going to let Pukki go. Simple as that. He's too important.
Let him go, and I don't think he's actually that good. I think he had that little bit of form, and that was him.
If I had the choice of Llorente or Pukki, it's Llorente all day long. Mainly because Napoli aren't going to play hardball over it. Because if Norwich lose Pukki, look, Norwich are going to go down, and it probably looks like they will. I'm just going to say it right now. The way they're playing isn't good. On top of that, do you think they want to lose their best player?
Exactly, like it's the same with Villa and Grealish. Like if Villa were to sell Grealish now, that's like them going, right, we're going down.
Yeah.
We know we're going down.
Here's one. Calvert-Lewin.
No. No.
He scored a lot, and he scored scrappy goals.
He scored a lot recently.
He scored a lot of scrappy goals. I mean, I was saying before, we was watching a few of his goals under Ancelotti, and they were the sort of goals that we aren't scoring. The biggest example that I can think of is, remember when Andreas Pereira back post missed it? Calvert-Lewin probably would have got that, because all the goals that was on the highlight reel were goals where it was like sticking your leg out, getting it in there.
I just think he's a bit of flavour of the month, Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah,
he scored a lot of goals recently, but if we're saying this 6 months ago, everyone would laugh in your face when you'd link Calvert-Lewin to United.
Yeah.
No, I don't think that. There's a lot of talk about the Raul Jimenez one, about this is why he was linked because of Rashford's injury. Maybe this was something we didn't know about before.
Well, that'd make sense.
That would make sense.
Again, is he going to...
He wouldn't want to be a second striker.
He's going to cost 60 million, 50, 60 million.
Yeah.
He's in a team that's doing quite well.
Yeah.
To try and prize him away from them when they're still pushing, they've got Europa League.
I don't think anyone would be too keen to leave Wolves and Mings. I think that is definitely a project that is going in the right direction.
I mean, I think I could see them leaving in the summer, but I don't think I see Wolves wanting to get rid of anyone now.
No.
They've got too much going on for this season. They've got the Europa League still. They want to push the top 6. Are they
still in the FA Cup as well?
I think they're already at 40 games as well this season. Yeah. God, right in.
The good performance we had the other week. Yeah. About that. And Zonzi, no, not even going to talk about that one. Danny, no, don't dare. No, we're not talking about Nzonzi.
Nzonzi, yeah. Look, it's that bad at the moment. I'd just take anyone. We just need people to play. It's that bad. Yeah. We need to do like a trial, just an open trial. If you're that good, just please play for us. Danny Ings isn't going to go because, again, they're not going to let Ings go.
Especially with the Euros coming up as well. With Kane being injured now, and he's looking.
Ings is, and Rashford. Ings is looking first choice because Vardy's retired.
Kane's out. Rashford's out.
Abraham's
had a dodgy spell. He's gone through a spell now.
I think Gareth will play Abraham regardless of the patch because
probably, yeah.
I think he will. But also, if you're Danny Ings and you finish the season on 25 goals,
you're going to be a bit miffed if you're not starting, aren't you?
Yeah,
it's just not good. Everyone's saying about Maddison and things like that. They're not going to like these big signings now. Like the Bruno Fernandes one, Sporting Lisbon. Are they in any cup competitions? Are they in the Europa League? I think they are.
Yeah.
Or are they knocked out of that?
No, I think they're still in it. But obviously the cup tie.
But I think they're not looking at that for their bit of silverware. They're not pushing for that. So I think they're just happy to get rid of him. But these other ones people are mentioning where it's, Maddison, Grealish and all the players out of Wolves and stuff, they've got a lot to play for this season. I don't think they're going to just say, OK, in January, let's go. Yes, we could pay over the odds, but this is what we're not going to. We're talking about Bruno Fernandes, which is people they're trying to get rid of. We're not going to do. We're just not going to do it.
I mean, Fernandes, the style of player that we need to get in terms of the sort of remit of player is that we need a player who the club are happy to let go now. Fernandes is the one that fits that mold.
Definitely.
We need him. We need him. It's as simple as that, because he can do a job anywhere in midfield, mainly as an 8. It looks like it's going to be a Pogba replacement who's come 6 months earlier than expected. He can play as a 10, which we need because Pereira's shit. And then he can do a job anywhere. That's what we need, those sort of players. I mean, Sancho as well. He's like a summer project. I'd put the feelers in now if they're not already, and just maybe tease the boat and go, what would make you come to United? We'll give you the 7. We'll do this to you. We'll do that, because we need that X factor back with United. No, Sancho was one of them, and if he's playing with Sancho and he's playing with Rashford and he's playing Martial. I mean, Mbappe said a while ago how much he loves playing with Mbappe said how much he loves playing with Martial, and it's like if you can recreate that sort of combination with Sancho in terms of he's coming through as sign Mbappe, Messi and Ronaldo, and we'll win the title. Saying this before, are you not going to win the title if you don't sign them through?
Probably not.
Which goes against every part I just said before about we need gettable players, but there we go.
Yeah, there's talk about Moussa Dembele from Lyon as well, but he's in the same boat that he's maybe not in the league.
The thing is, though,
Dembele game, the Champions League, they got through, didn't they?
Well, the thing with Dembele is that they were looking at. There's been a lot of feelers about him going. So again, that's another thing. Does he want to go? Is his agent forcing him to go? Is the club letting him go? We won't go after a player who's brand new, come out of nowhere. We're going to have to go after a player that we've been linked with in the last 6 months, because there's obviously been something there that either, like I said, the player, the club, or the agent want them to go to United.
To be fair, I think the Lyon president's come out and said he's likely to stay.
I think these are all things that are going to happen this summer. You can't be doing. These aren't going to happen in the middle of the season. Yeah. It's not because it's hard to buy in January. It's just the fact that these clubs want these players, especially with Lyon. I mean, they've lost Depay's out for the season.
Yeah, he's gone in.
So he's their main goals. Yeah. He was their main goals anyway. But you take Depay out of that, it's not good. There's Cantwell as well. Same kind of thing where he's in. Norwich are going to go down. If they sell one of their best players, it's not going to. Also, if they sell him now, if we go for him now, he's going to cost 40 million.
I think the bargain bin
someone that's not
relegation time is going to be a good.
But it's going to be.
Look at Maguire. Was he when he was at Hull when they went down? Robertson when they went down, I think.
Yeah, Wijnaldum
was another one.
Well, they still paid 30 million for someone going into the Championship.
Well, yeah, I know, but if they bought him in January, it would have been 60.
Exactly.
So the bargain bin needs to be had a look at. Cantwell and Grealish are all gettable, like you said. So I think
finally,
in the summer,
tomorrow we're playing Burnley. Who
bit of a late kick-off,
up until yesterday, up until this weekend, I was like, that's an easy win. They've been pretty crap, haven't they? They lost the last 5 games in the Premier League. Yeah. They won a couple in the cups. And
we beat them only 4 weeks ago.
We beat them 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, that's how close the fixtures are. It's
fine. Don't worry about it. Burnley, even if we've got a weak squad, I fancy that. And then Leicester scored, and I thought, perfect. These lads are going to be well down against us. And then they win 2-1.
Yeah.
It's now all of a sudden it's one of them like. It becomes every game in the Premier League. There's always some argument when United play them at the minute that it goes, this might not suit us today. Isn't it?
I think the first 10 minutes are going to be telling. If we can come out, I know everyone's going to be a bit down, obviously, with the Rashford injury and the Liverpool result. If we can come out the first 10 minutes, look quite positive, create a few chances, I think the game will go in our favour. But if we come out nervy, dilly-dallying on the ball, if they press us and they're getting a couple of early chances, I think we could be in a bit of trouble. So I think the first 10 minutes is going to decide the game, to be honest.
I think the fans as well are going to get right behind him, because they know the situation that we're in. Rashford's out for the next 3 months, and all the players look up to him. He's a massive source of inspiration, bigger than Pogba for me, because he's like I said, you put that tweet out, Rashford, about I'm going to be doing this, I'm going to be doing that, and it's like,
and I'll be back in team meetings and all this kind of stuff. It makes a massive difference.
It does make a difference. It makes a difference for the kids coming through, because I think Greenwood's going to end up taking Rashford's spot whilst he's injured. He won't take it when he comes back, absolutely not, unless he's scoring a hat-trick every game. Then there's a bit of an argument there. But I think that this is where we're going to start seeing those kids coming through. He was on about Ramanazi and Mella. There's Laird's probably going to come in now because Young's gone, if anyone gets injured there. But in terms of midfield and attacking, options, this is very reminiscent of Van Gaal's last season, which
give his debuts out left, right, and
well, that's what I mean. The 6 of one was like, with all these players were getting debuts, but the half a dozen of the other was like, we're not going to win a title with any of these yet.
No.
So you need to build a side around that. Now, am I saying that we're 4 years progress has been wiped out because we've gone backwards? No, but what I'm saying is that we just need to sort of, as much as I hate to say it because it's such a cliche thing to say, trust the process. If the squad doesn't get a Fernandes, if the squad doesn't get a Sancho, if it doesn't get a Madison, if it doesn't get any of these players, high profile players that we're linked with, summer needs to happen that summer. It can't be any later, because this is looking nearly what? We're going to come up to 10 years without a title. We've done well in cup competitions. Look, I'm saying it as it is. 10 years nearly without a title. That's how shit it is. Something needs to change.
Positive note. Score prediction for tomorrow.
3-1 United.
4-1 United.
I'm going to say 2-0. Right, cheers guys for joining us. We've got a 3-point preview coming out tonight. Make sure you check that out. We'll be live about an hour before the game for team news. We've got our watch-along tomorrow and a match review. We've also got, Behind Enemy Lines with some Burnley fans, with Vizza from Burnley. So make sure you check that out. Make sure you like us on Facebook. Make sure you like the video, share us, do what you need to do, and we'll see you next time.